Today is a special podcast, and we're interviewing a longtime friend of mine, Etienne Armand, affectionately known as Nick. So Nick, thank you for joining us on our podcast today, and I'm anxious to tell your story because not only are you unique, but so is your story. And I've never seen you look better or appear happier than you are today. Tell me what life is like for you right now. I know it hasn't always been like this.
Life has been very good. Lately, yes, it has. I feel safe.
And what has made the difference?
Having my own place, really basically, and having my own time, you know, and being able to draw, being able to play music, be able to just be who I am, you know, and cook, even if it's not a good cooking, just to be safe.
Good.
I feel good that way.
But it hasn't always been like this. So I've known you sort of at your worst, maybe?
Yes, you have.
And I love seeing the way you are today. But take us through part of the worst for you.
The worst, okay, probably is at the encampment down there up of, I guess, the one over, I don't know exactly, I can't tell you exactly where it is because I'm not supposed to say where it is. It was a nightmare, okay? And I spent almost a month there or more in a tent, and I had had surgery on my foot and stuff like that. Barely could walk around, but the only thing is, I was treated well. To be quite honestly, the person that allowed me in this area didn't bother me, but there was never a sleep or a night that was safe, I don't think. And I have to think. Actually, I have a little video I shot of myself leaving there. And I looked like I died. And I don't, I mean, I've never, I don't know, the road to even there was bad, okay? And I just wouldn't wish it on anybody, if I could help anybody not do that, I would say don't, but that's their choice. And I guess I just had stubborn, and not feeling, I had no self-esteem anymore. I lost a lot. And I was a man with tons of it.
Tell us about that. What was this esteem you've had in your life?
Excuse me?
What was the esteem that you had in your life?
Well, first of all, I started off, my daughter was born 50-some years ago, and that was probably too soon for me. But the thing is, I pursued a musical situation where my brother and I put a band together. We practiced 5-6 nights a week, every day, and put a band together, and ended up, taking it to Hollywood and stuff like that. But the bottom line is, it was work. It was my work. My brother and I could write the music, write the lyrics, I could play the drums, I could do that, and I was experiencing at least something that I really was. I always had nurtured that in myself. Hard work, always, and those are the great days, the greatest days, because we could go to a party and there'd be hundreds and hundreds of people there. Then when we went to Hollywood, there was that, we did the Troubadour, the Starwood, the Whiskey A Go-Go, all those places. But that wasn't enough. So I don't know. I mean, my life is to be an artist. That's what it was supposed to be. And I just weaned myself into doing anything I could do to be a carpenter, to be this or whatever, because I would love to work, and it wasn't a job. And the music just took me away. It had its rough, a lot of its rough stuff. So when you get signed to contracts and stuff like that, you're messed up on their schedule. So band breaks up. My brother goes to New York, and bass player partners a group called the Knack, and he gets the #1 hit, you know, and I'm in the back seat of a band with my manager and about a new band going to Vancouver to play clubs because two of the other main members weren't even in the band anymore. That's not trust.
Music runs in your family.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Tell us about that.
My sister Renee was discovered by not Burt Bacharach, but the Tony Bennett. Okay, in San Francisco, sang the first Toyota Corona commercial, which ended on Toyota. So she became a star in Japan, and then came back and signed A&M Records as a singer-songwriter, 1972. And ended up hooking up with a guy named Jim Gordon, who was with Derek Donalds and David Ricky Does. Had 60 hits a year, okay? And then after she dumped him, which she did, she ended up meeting a guy named Jim Horn, who's a Bangladesh horn player. So, I mean, I met a lot of, what is this like, to meet or see these people, you saw how they worked. And it was something that she did really well. And so I was never antagonized by her. Both my sisters bought my first set of drums, and they wanted a second set of drums. I wanted these sets, because we had no money. I came from a very poor Romanian family, and my sister Claudette worked for Columbia Pictures, Heck Till and Lancaster, and they worked until probably just last year. And so I was able to, there's nothing that I got that happened really great. At 15 years old, I got a birthday present to be an extra in a movie called Way West. And so I got to Bend, Oregon. I met Rob Mitchum's brother's son, Jack Mitchum. So we all got down to the Bend, Oregon, dressed in our outfits, and I got myself a Bob Dylan book and taught myself how to play. There's just something about learning poetry that whether I could plagiarize it or, you know, I had to rhyme. You know, and so I did. So of course people said, "Oh, this guy's a nut, he's crazy," or whatever it is. But bottom line is, I have so much to give, and I work so hard to do it. It's when I'm not doing it, it's frustrating.
Now you managed to have a family.
Oh yes,
right?
Well yeah.
Tell us about the kids.
Okay, my daughter Dorothy's 50. She's a parole officer. Then I had a son named Nick, and he was murdered, but the mafia murdered him. That was devastating.
How did you manage your life when that happened?
I don't think I have yet. It's something that basically you think everything's going okay, but you know that it's not, but it is. Because I think what happens with a lot of people, they go ahead and when the kids are in jail or prison, they're okay. You know, so when they're out, they worry. You know, so but with my son, for some reason, he was this. He'd call me Pops, you know, and he all my tools, he'd actually put my name on them, just real legibly, but he was an avid reader. And he's like a brain, but he's born with a crossed eye, and his mother, until he was 5 or 6 years old, and I had to take him to Joe side to get his eyes fixed. But other than that, there was something wrong there, but it hurt. It really hurt, you know, and basically, it still hurts, but I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that to happen to anybody else, and so that happened to him. And then I got married, and then to my wife, and which has been 30-some years now. Another son named I'm a little nervous here. Another son named Travis Jean, Armand, which is in New York. And all are doing really great. But you know what? I don't see them that much, so quite honestly, I'm gonna still need work. To all you people that are gonna see this, you gotta keep working, you gotta keep, finding out what's in your head and what's bothering you and voice it and get help, because it's devastating to keep them, just to isolate yourself and not even say anything.
You had some health problems along the way.
Yeah.
Tell us, how did that develop?
I don't know. I know one thing. I was in the hospital more than 4 times before I was 10 years old, and spinal meningitis was it put a coma. I woke up to the Romanian priest giving me my last rites, and it was during Christmas. Which I'll tell you something. I mourned on Christmas. I mourned on Christmas. It was very devastating. It was Christmas time, and I can remember to this day that my stepdad, who did not like me at all, no one could see me at the hospital, children's hospital. And it was the best thing, one of the good things that happened, my next door neighbor was a fireman, and he brought me a bike, and that was just the thing of giving, or maybe that's how I learned. I thought I was okay, but maybe I wasn't okay, because you tell me I'm not a good person or something. I had to go into my own world then. And that's very true. Whether I hiked or I did something, I had to. That was my health problem. I ended up getting the spinal meningitis was probably the worst, and that led to me being unbalanced. And then I had the hepatitis C. Who knows? Okay, that's been many times in the mental hospital or the state hospital. And I will say this, okay, and I'm honest, back in the day, it's a lot different than today going into those hospitals. And especially when you're just by yourself, and the best thing is when you're told you got to go there by family or somebody else because you're acting out. And then you find out that you're bipolar or you're manic depressive. And back in those days, it was really hard to take that, because you couldn't tell your friends, and it wasn't very popular back in the day, so everything was hush-hush. And so my illness, I had drug addiction, I had the alcohol, man, you don't do don't build a house unless you drink like a beer, you don't plumbing or whatever. But bottom line is, even as a musician, you go into the club and they give you a keg of beer, not a keg of beer, excuse me, a pitcher of beer, and you go on and you got to do your show, win or lose, and I play those kind of clubs. Biker clubs, you didn't play, man. You've been lucky if you got out. And I don't miss. You know what? I don't miss that, but I do miss that. I don't miss it only because you're playing your own music, you're entertaining people, okay. And it was like my goal of even coming to Santa Paula. I'd like to get a little drums thing with the kids, so they wouldn't just music, so young kids could play and draw and maybe get out whatever demons are inside them and put it to good use, beat it with the drumsticks or whatever it is. But I haven't stopped. I haven't stopped, and I'm not going to stop. My goal is to live my life fulfilled and help, you know, and just if I could have one kid or two kids or three or four, maybe 100, you know, that'd be great. There's no ego in that.
You spent quite a bit of time literally on the streets and not even at the camp at the river. You were in Ojai, Santa Paula. What was life like? How did you manage your medicine and your appointments with behavioral health and food? How do you manage that?
Okay, you know what? That was when I went to the rescue mission in Oxnard. That was killer. And because you had to get either by 5 o'clock or you to get in. They give you a sack lunch and bam, see you later. You're on the street and you're sitting with, there's some this and this out there. That's one of the worst places I've ever been at night. You know, you just don't do it. I mean, I think the freedom was not. As I look back, it was almost like a sentence, you know, because you're not on a schedule. There's no schedule whatsoever, and the bottom line is, again, is the thing about schedules is you have to keep to them, and medicine with them has to be taken every single day, and you go off it, forget it. Who knows what's going to happen, and that's serious, especially at my age, because there's not many people. I'm going to say this: not many people get to my age with my disease, and without, you know, taking it seriously. It's not. So I have to be careful. I'm very lucky, if you call that luck, to be here right now, and I appreciate this. You know, I'm nervous, but so what? I had to do this, and I'm glad I did it.
Yeah. We know it's tough out there. What would you say to someone who you meet? And I know you're very willing to talk to anybody about their problems, but what would you say to someone who's out on the street right now struggling?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. You know what? I'll tell you. That's almost a hypothetical. And I'm not, well, the thing is that I'm not even, I've got this housing, and I've been on the street, I've been going alleyways away from everyone, just so that I don't, I would help, I would still help, but I don't even know. I mean, you know what, I'm really a different person, but I'm not, you know, I feel bad when people are that way, but then again, what's their motives too? You know, that's another aspect about down and out or whatever. You know, if you get too close, you know, I'd be more judgmental today than I would, because I don't really have any funds or I could send them some more, maybe. But no, you know, I don't know. That's the first thing I can't really truly answer, because I don't know.
So it's been a journey for you,
yes.
Sort of peaks and valleys along the way of your life, but I'm so happy to see you now at the peak. And you have housing for the rest of your life if things go well, right?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. And, you know, I mean, you brought, and this is not just because we're on this camera thing here, you've brought so much giving to me since we have met. And you've seen me screw up, but you've taken me to court. You brought my food up in the mountains, and I don't know anyone in this whole world that basically I could say has my back, other than God, you know, of course. But I mean, the other aspect, I mean, and this church, this whole organization is just, I wish I would have been brought up in it. Where I came from, we didn't have things like this. This is a small little town, but man, it's got so much love here, and you wouldn't think about that if you see some of the other stuff that's out here. The small percentage are nothing, and everything else is all something. So, I mean, I thank you so much, and no matter what, I'm glad I'm here.
Well, you're a sweet soul, Nick, and it's just a joy to see you express yourself so well, and I know you are an encourager to other people every chance you get. So thanks for spending time today. Is there any final comment for us?
Well, yeah, I just want to put a good word. I hope my mother-in-law is be okay. I know she's on her way. I don't know. I just completely, put my head around her, and that's about it. I'm not letting anybody in on that aspect of it. Okay. But I hope, other than that, I'm just, you guys got me. You can cut this and edit this, but man, I just got dinner. I'll probably never sleep for a year.